Welcome. Thank you. This is my first time, so thank you, Simon, for explaining what this is. Obviously, I got the rundown from Justin before that as well. So I want to talk about a project that we started within IEEE, and I will come to explaining what IEEE stands for. That is, we are creating a recommended practice for the development of digital twins of the Earth. And I think that's the most important piece here, the Earth, in comparison to other digital twins. So yes, who is or are IEEE SA? I think most of you are familiar with IEEE, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. It's a member-based organization based in the US with 486,000 members globally in more than 190 countries. So it's very, very big with a lot of chapters, sectors, sections. And I think most of you know it for conferences, journals, and whatnot in engineering. And IEEE also has a standards association, which means that within the auspices of the SA, there are standards and norms being developed. It is volunteer-based, so this is something different, for example, with ISO, who consists of national and governmental standards bodies. IEEE SA is fully volunteer, either by organizations and industry or by people themselves in their personal capacity. The most known standard from IEEE is the 802.11, which is the wireless LAN Wi-Fi, which we all have built into our computers and phones and whatnot, which is an industry standard. Who are we today? So Justin already introduced himself real quick. Justin works at the National Oceanographic Center. Is that right? I have trouble sometimes with long words. In the group for marine autonomous and robotic systems, and is a principal engineer, is what I just learned. And I am an independent consultant for digital innovation and sustainability. Basically, I help organizations focusing and bridging the technology with use cases in nonprofit, social, and environmental sectors. And the root from all of this, and also from this project, is partly because I'm working on the ILIAD project, which is an ocean twin project, among others, and that's where also the idea for this standardization came out. So the challenge that we found is in building digital twins of the Earth is that there is no unified framework that guides the development of those DTEs. Collaboration and sharing and data sharing is partly difficult because basically everybody is doing their own thing and trying to build it up based on their own use cases and based on their questions and either research questions or engineering questions. And we found that there is also currently a lack of interoperability and comparability between different digital twins of the Earth. And when I say digital twins of the Earth, and as I said, built on a need-to-have basis, Earth and Earth subsystems are fairly vast, right? You have the oceans, you have the atmosphere, you have the climate and climate change, you have different resolutions, you have different altitudes, you have different foci that you put on. So for example, the weather extremes. And in that sense, they are different to digital twins for industry, especially because, you try to have long-term data. You have much more of a broader focus on the Earth and all the different variables that are in an Earth environment. You have much higher regional aspects. So you're not looking at one downstream line, for example, but you're looking at an Earth system, or let's say for an ocean, you look at a specific bay, and in the bay, you have a whole bunch of variables that you have to collect and then twin and use those in your digital twins. And one of the biggest distinctions that I have found is that often there is no direct feedback loop. You need to have a human intervention that is necessary, meaning that a digital twin barely acts on the data that it has. There is no direct change of variables, but there is a decision that needs to be taken by the digital by the people working with digital twins. So what is what we call P3501, or the recommended practice. So we provide a set of recommended practices, which are also known as engineering guidelines, for example, or anything that we show how to build a digital twin of the Earth, or how it could be. Let's put it that way. It's not a standard in that sense that it's mandatory and normative, but it is a recommended practice. Is that the authors of this guideline, of this document, suggest what people should or could do and what they should think about. And for that, we also aim to create a somewhat of a common understanding of the digital twin of the Earth space. So a little bit about a definition. What is a digital twin of the Earth and its subsystems? A vocabulary. Are we talking about the same issues? We try to put together steps to follow to build a digital twin of the Earth. Also, which components are needed. Anything from data storage to modeling to any architectures. And that, in turn, with the aim is that we are making the digital twins more comparable. So are the inputs, outputs on the same resolution? Are they in, I guess the simple question is, are they in Celsius or Fahrenheit? That kind of stuff. So anything that helps us with the comparability between the different digital twins of the Earth, that also will help it decrease uncertainty. And as I said, because there are so many that are looking at different aspects, or very small specific aspects, interoperability is highly important for that. Of course, the recommended practice will, as such, support new developers and give them a shortcut with a lot of questions and ideas that have already been done before and asked before. But also, the group itself is a convening group of experts where we discuss the topics. And we're also there to promote non-engineering aspects. And I think that's one of the important things of this, is that, you have ethical aspects, legal aspects, like data ownership, licensing, privacy, and of course, also the user engagement and stakeholder integration that needs to be part of a digital twin engineering project. Current status is that we have a working group set up early in 2025. We're gathering information and inputs. So what does a digital twin of the Earth engineer or developer need to consider when building that? And our next steps will be to create that draft and fill it with contents, and then obviously publish it as soon as we're ready. One of the things that we had done, and I understand we only have a few seconds left, is what should all be considered. And this is our first brainstorm. You'll see that there's a lot of different aspects, anything from digital twins of the Earth to user feedback methods to the co-design principles. There's a lot of stuff that we want to cover, or that should be covered, that people need to think about when developing a new digital twin of the Earth. So what's next? If you are interested in that kind of work, more info is on tiny.cc/p3501, which leads to our official website, or I guess information page. If you're interested in contributing, please reach out to me or Justin. And our next working group is on June 12th, the next meeting at 3:30 in Vienna, which is where I'm based, or 2:30 in London. And I hope I did that conversion right. And that's it. Thank you.
So Siggy, Justin, to you first. Looking at your brainstorm slide, a good number of those topics have already been discussed in advance within the DT Hub community, including the Gemini principles. How much of a mapping exercise has been done so that you don't duplicate what has already been learned?
It hasn't, but we are at the very beginning. So this was the first brainstorm, but I think on our list is that there will be a mapping done between the principles, Gemini principles. Also, the Digital Twin Consortium has the periodic table of components, I think is what it's called. So we'll be going from there, and definitely also ask for input from the Gemini network as well, or DT Hub.
Very good. A linked question, please, for yourself, is what work has the IEEE SA done to engage with other sectors working on digital twins to ensure alignment with the different sectors and what they're doing, so that best cross-sector value can be obtained from your best practice guidance?
Yes. So, I mean, two things from a standardization perspective. We have people working also on the ISO Joint Task Force, or whatever it's called, 41, which is Digital Twin and the Internet of Things. We're working also with the OGC quite a bit because they are also part of ILIAD and other digital twin projects. And going from there, IEEE has a few working groups that are looking more at the industrial digital twins. We also have somebody from the German, the DIN, involved, who is looking at urban, or we are getting them involved, looking at urban digital twins. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the Digital Twin Consortium would be another way to go to get from there.